Earlier this week, residents in the water-scarce QwaQwa area in the Free State embarked on protests following the death of an 8-year-old child. The child drowned while fetching water from a river. The community hasn't had regular water supply for years.
7-year-old Mosa Mbhele is the face of the water struggle in QwaQwa. She drowned at this river while fetching water with her 12-year-old sister. The incident has added to the anger of protesters, and the family is devastated.
If we had water, I wouldn't have allowed her to go to the river. It hurts. If only I could bring her back, I would.
Healthcare services have been halted at this hospital. There's no medical supply for patients. Patients and health professionals have to fetch water from a nearby tank.
I have only one hand left, and then I got injured on the right hand. I have to use left hand. So you can imagine going down to fetch water.
Despite the challenges, some are determined to soldier on.
I've just been in touch with the pharmacists. I'm also in touch with the SABC that they must provide a protection for that person to come in and provide a service.
Businesses and schools have been affected.
The people are angry. They want water, simple water. Water is it is not a privilege, but it's a constitutional right. So we are not going to suspend that. So if you can see that the people are angry.
Police continue to monitor the situation, but tensions remain palpable in the area. Aphumelele Mdlalane, SABC News, QwaQwa.
Tensions boiled over QwaQwa in the Free State this week when angry residents, as you saw, protested against chronic water shortages. Community members embarked on a shutdown of the area, barricading roads after the death of little Mosa Mbhele, who drowned while fetching water from the local river. Residents say this area has been without water for months. But access to water is not the only problem facing residents in that area. The Maluti-a-Phofung Municipality, which the town falls under, has been under administration since February 2018. It's reportedly unable to collect refuse, doesn't pay bills, its ratepayers, and allegedly owes Eskom around 4 billion rand. A government delegation visited the area yesterday, met with protest leaders who have now agreed to suspend the shutdown of the area while negotiations continue. To discuss this further, in studio we are joined by Tembeni Qangisa, who is the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs in the Free State. MEC, thank you for coming. It's good to have you in studio.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers, Leah.
MEC, it's a dire situation that's happening in the municipality right now. It really is. People are complaining about service delivery. I think we've outlined it quite adequately, that this is not something new. It has been ongoing for quite some time. Now a child has lost her life. What's happening? What's going on there?
No, thanks for the opportunity, and we pass our deepest condolences to the family. I was with the family the first day I heard about the incident, and they welcomed us. We understand the pain they were going through. We are working with them to give a dignified burial to the child. I must also say, yesterday we got news whilst we were in the meeting with the community leaders that we also lost a dad and a child also who were drowned yesterday. So it's very painful. We want to pass our deepest condolences. It is inexcusable. We apologize to the people of QwaQwa, to the people of the Free State. We could have done things better. We could have done things differently. You would know that the reason why the municipality was subjected under 139 is because the municipality was not doing what it's supposed to do. Instead of focusing, amongst other issues, in improving the water conditions in QwaQwa, they diverted the money from the Department of Water and Sanitation to other programs of operations, and the other money to be returned. So they failed to do their constitutional mandate. Hence we intervene. However, Leon, we are saying that we need to work together. We met yesterday with the leaders, with all political parties, with church leaders, who were also saying people no longer come to church because they then had to go and look for water at a time when they must go to church. So we met and business was very distressed yesterday. So we agreed it was a very tense meeting, but it was a robust meeting. But we agreed that we must put the people first. We must ensure that we give back to people what is their rightful life.
Yeah.
And that's why we agreed that the protest would be suspended and we would allow people to go back to work today. Kids must go back to school. Registration is going to close. NSFAS has got deadlines, and kids to the university and the colleges were running out of time. And the school syllabus for other learners also was running out of time. So we agreed that let's go back to normality. Let's allow life to start, and everybody must go on with their life. But the agreement we made unequivocally was that there has to be water supply constantly, uninterrupted. And we agreed that tankers are not the best way because many of them are riddled with malfeasance, are riddled with corruption. But for a temporary measure, because you need water today, we have mid-term plans and long-term plans, but people need to drink water today and they can't live without water.
Do they have water today?
They do.
How? How did it change
They still
overnight?
use, they did have water. They had tankers, but the problem with tankers, they were not adhering to the schedule. Instead of a tanker arriving at 10 in the morning, it will arrive 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
And people will have to wait the whole day. And part of the problem is that these tankers, instead of delivering waters where they are supposed to go, they will go somewhere else. They will collude with other people and don't deliver water at all. So it was a painful and distressful situation.
I mean, perhaps it's changed, the numbers, but the last numbers I read, there were 320 water tankers that are serving 35 wards.
Yes,
that's nowhere near enough.
No, we have 280 jojos. Jojos is these big containers that you put that are stationary. And those were divided into 29 wards, 5 rationed at 5, with the capacity of 10,000 liters. So it was 50,000 liters per ward per jojo. And then you had 30 tankers, the ones that fetch water and give to people who don't have access to the jojos, but also to refill the jojos. So that was the plan that was working. But the issue was these trucks, these tankers that had to fetch water from the source and then deliver it to various people and fill the jojos, did not actually adhere to the schedule. And that affected people negatively. And that's why we apologize that this interim measure, even though it's not the best way, it's not what we want. We want people to get water from the taps.
How are you going to do that? So let's go there. How is it going to change? Because you agree. I mean, seeing people walking with buckets to rivers and waiting for tankers to arrive, and you say they come at 6, others say they actually don't come for days, and they go without water. And you want life to go back to normality, go back to school, go back to work, go back to whatever you do. There's no water. People can't go to. Imagine going to a toilet where there is no water. And this is schools, the hygiene, the diseases that are spread. So there is nothing normal about this. They cannot go back to normal. What do you want? What are you going to do to bring water supply to the area?
Part of the solutions was that the minister, Mama Sisulu, is there today. The premier is also there today. They are committing huge budgets to make an intervention. But yesterday we agreed that the South African National Defence Force must also be approached, and all other people would have to be approached, all sympathetic and business people would have to be approached. We have declared a disaster, and the National Office today is going to emphasize that. So we have ensured people that there would be water. Instead of people waiting for tankers to come, they would find water in places where they must fetch water. Would love water to go directly to taps. We got brilliant suggestions yesterday of people who understand the system there. The report is that if one dam, they've got 3 dams. The biggest dam is Fikapatso with 36 megaliters capacity, and it has run dry. And it has affected 85% of the population. But the other 2 dams are not linked to Fikapatso system. So they operate individually. So they are
I know
not,
one of them is Stakfontein, and there was an idea to sort of try and provide. It was a 7-month process that started, I think it was maybe the middle of last year. Where are we with that?
that project would be in June, would be finished in June, but you are taking only 20% of the 85% population, and you still would have 65%. Metsimatu is also taking 15%. There's a system to connect water from Metsimatu to people who are depending on the Sterkfontein or to on the Fikapaso. So we are taking, but you still need water into Fikapaso to supply the bigger community. That's why the minister today has brought a team to say, even engineers, and the suggestion was that MISA also must be thrown in, so that we find creative ways to source water for the people permanently.
Do you know that we had the minister's spokesperson sitting in this exact chair this past week? Didn't even know that this was happening in the Free State. Didn't even know there were protests taking place. Didn't even know that there were water shortages. Does that scare you a little bit? Because it scared me, it really did.
I listened to the interview and I understood, because it was on Monday morning and the protest started in the morning, and I suppose when he came here, the news had not filtered in to that extent. And I was already there in QwaQwa at the time, because I had also attended the family, and I'd been looking to meet the people who wanted to engage into a protest and say, can't we find an alternative way except stopping kids from going to school, stopping people from going to work, and then allowing business to operate. So at the time I was in QwaQwa and I was listening. But the interesting thing and the comforting thing is that all people in QwaQwa, and I give respect to the leaders we met yesterday, all of them were saying, we want things to go to normality. We want our situation to improve. We accept that the manner in which government was run there was not proper, to extent that people lost hope. And we can't live in that environment. And we want to make sure that in the past period we've put the municipality under administration. There's serious improvement there.
Where?
In
How?
QwaQwa.
There's raw sewage running down the street. You owe 4 billion rand in electricity to Eskom. There is no refuse collection. The rubbish just piles up. And people are desperate. They're now taking matters into their own hands to try and help themselves, because the municipality is doing nothing for them. And you know, the problem is this continues. It's a neglected environment, and it's something that unfortunately people have to live in. Could you live there? Could you live there?
Yeah,
honestly, you could live there. You could live
stayed there for a month.
With sewage running down the street, no water, there are no facilities, there is no leadership in that area, and you say you could live there.
I stayed there for a month whilst I was working on a project of bringing the municipality back. Yeah. But I must say, I'm not trying to overstate anything, and I'm not trying to play down the serious issues that people are going through. But I'm just saying, you'd know the municipality owes Eskom close to 4 billion rands. And when Eskom last year issued a statement that they want to switch off certain municipalities, they did not include Maluti-a-Phofung, because Maluti-a-Phofung has improved in paying them consistently every month. The municipality used to owe third parties a lot of money. They don't owe anything to third parties at the moment. The municipalities, you remember that the Treasury issued a notice that certain municipalities don't adhere to Treasury requirements, so they are going to withhold the equitable share. Maluti-a-Phofung was no longer part of that. So I'm saying the administration now and the political administration is moving. There used to be a protest every day in QwaQwa. Now there's stability, people are seeing hope. So I'm saying, with the little work that we have done, at least it shows we are getting somewhere, except that this issue of water needs a better approach and a better attendance.
I want to question you on these JoJo tanks. People say they've never seen JoJo tanks. They haven't got a clue where they are. Where are they located?
Every police station has got a JoJo. Every clinic has got a JoJo. Every hospital has got a JoJo and a borehole. And the court has got a JoJo. And
but is that for the community's use, or is that's for the community?
I'm just illustrating that the manner in which they are distributed, the 280 JoJos. Every ward has got 5 JOJOs. They are located in certain areas for security reasons. But in areas where there's no JOJO, then there's a distribution of tankers where these trucks would go and ferry water for people, and people will queue and then get water. So that it's not the best way, Leanne. We're not proud of that. But we're saying because there's no water, and the systems in QwaQwa are not linked if the other system fail. Like Fikapazo does not have water, it's not linked to Metsimatsu, it's not linked to Sterkfontein, so you can't tap to the other when the other one fails. That's the system that we must start now trying to do, and that's probably what the minister today would announce, to find a way to invest a lot of money to link to the system so that each one dam has run out of water, we are able to tap to the other system.
Yeah. You know, the reality is that it's not new. This is a build-up of maladministration. 4 years this has been a dysfunctional municipality, and you know that. I don't need to tell you that. Obviously we hear that the mayor was replaced and removed and voted out, and we have new leadership still under the ANC within this municipality. However, what's frightening is that there is still a continuation of the former mayor, who is still sitting in a very powerful position, even though there are links to corruption to him. There is evidence of what this municipality looked like under his leadership, and I'm talking about the former mayor Musa Chabalala. Okay. How do you intend on changing things when the same corrupt individuals still have a role to play in all of this?
You would know that there's hawks in QwaQwa now trying to investigate all the corruption that took place. We're also told that there's SIU in QwaQwa to establish, and I am sure once they have all the concrete information, all people who were involved would be arrested, and we are not mincing weight. Anybody who does corruption must be arrested. It would not be in the interest of the governing party, it would also not be in the interest of the community. We need to have a dependable system, and people must then rely on government on a daily basis. And they must trust government, because they then have confidence in them running their lives and being there on their behalf.
What about the sitting mayor? There's calls for her removal.
Yeah, I heard the calls that the mayor must be removed. The linkage was part of the WhatsApp message that was around, that the mayor said she does not drive JOJOs when she was asked about JOJOs that did not arrive. And we spoke to the mayor, she has profusely apologized.
Yeah.
But we were saying the issues of the people should not be linked to party political squabbles.
Unfortunately,
it's not.
If I may, and perhaps I can get an admission from you, the struggles of the people can't be linked to party politics, okay? But the struggles of the people can be linked to looting and rampant corruption. Hence, party politics. Because at the end of the day, had that money been spent properly, nobody would be in this situation. We can't blame it only on the rain, because health infrastructure has fallen apart. We did a crossing to one of your hospitals where people lost their mother because they couldn't get through due to the service delivery protests. Service delivery protests are there because there are no services. Imagine waking up with no water, sewage in the street, no electricity, nothing. And these are promises that you make, and people keep on hoping that one day things will change, and they never seem to change. So can you admit that it is because of looting and corruption that your municipality is in this state?
It's true. It's true. The other issue is deferred maintenance. You remember I said earlier on that there was a budget to improve the water reticulation in QwaQwa and to improve the dams in QwaQwa. But the money was then used for operations instead of being directed to where it was meant to be. And the part of the money had to be returned because people did not have capacity to implement it properly. We acknowledge that. We have identified that there's a lack of skills in the agency of the municipality, which is Maluti-a-Phofung Water Agency. It does not have capacity. It has got people who are not engineers. So it would be difficult to focus on the key function when you don't have the relevant skill that has to implement the project. So all of those, we have identified them now, and we are saying we want to, everything must change, but at the moment, people must still get water whilst we do all these other plans with the immediate effect. And that's why we said for now, and our appeal yesterday was that we would increase the tankers so that people don't have to queue and wait and then go to other alternative dangerous means of acquiring water, so that at least life can go back to normal.
MEC, we'll invite you back. Can you give us a deadline on when we can finally start seeing things turn around in the municipality? When can we invite you back?
Give me a month.
A month?
Yes.
All right. A month from today, we call you back. In fact, we may just come and visit the municipality and see the things that are changing there. So we'll give you that as a deadline to see that difference that's made. We appreciate your time and we appreciate your openness and frankness talking to us here on the program this morning. This, of course, was Tembi Nkosi. No, I beg your pardon. It's Tembene Tangisa, who's the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs in the Free State, giving us an update on the water situation and other service delivery issues that are affecting QwaQwa in the Free State.